Hi, my name is Lee Kottner, and I'm your instructor for MAT 210, Digital Imaging 3, Advanced Photoshop. This is going to be an orientation video for the class, and even if you have already used the learning management systems that I'm going to go over, you still need to watch the whole thing because it's going to show you everything about what you need to know specifically for how to navigate through our class. So the first thing I want to mention is that we're not using Blackboard this semester. The campus has already started to migrate away from Blackboard in favor of using something called Canvas. And so I want to show you how you can easily get to the login for that. If you just go to miracosta.edu, you can go and hover over classes, and then down below you'll see a link for online education. You just go ahead and click that. And then it shows you the logins for the different currently still supported learning management systems. So you can click on the Login to Canvas link, and it's going to take you to this login screen right here. And for the username, you're going to type in your W number that you use for Surf, and for the password, it'll be your Surf password. So click Sign On, and it will sign you up into Canvas. And one of the other things I want you to notice is the address that's up here in the URL. That address is something that you can directly bookmark, or you can type it so that you don't always have to go through the main miracosta.edu website to find how to get here. So if you go to miracosta.instructure.com, you can just bookmark this and just use the bookmark in the future. Okay, it takes you right to the Miracosta login. All right, so now whenever you get here, it's going to drop you into the dashboard, and you'll have a whole bunch of different classes here. And if you're taking a lot of classes, if you're just taking this one, then you'll just see the one class. Before I jump into our class, I want to show you a couple of things first, and the first being that if it's going to show you your notification preferences right off the bat. Probably the first thing you should do before you do anything is go to check your preferences for this. Um, I have not really used Canvas very much, so that is the first disclaimer. This is going to be my first semester of using it. If you're watching this in a future semester, then this is probably my second or third semester. But anyway, what I want to make sure that you understand is that the notifications are very liberal, meaning that it can be sort of like, trying to drink from a fire hose, right? At least this is what I've been told. You want to make sure that if you're getting too many notifications, that you come here and notice that it's under your account information. It's under notifications. You can change these notifications at any time. So if you find that you're getting way too many emails, because, or text messages or something, if you've got that enabled, you can come and start to filter out how often, how frequently you get these notifications and for what things. Like, so for some of these things, you may not care to get any alerts, or you might care only to get them infrequently. So I would recommend making some modifications. I am not going to, go through all of these. I think that you need to spend a little bit of time sort of taking a look. The other thing too that I want you to do while you're in your account area is go up under profile. And I would really love it if you could find a picture of yourself that you're comfortable uploading, and you just hover over the icon of the user, and then you just click on the edit button, and you'll upload something here. And the reason that I'd like for you to do that is that it puts a human face to this online environment. And the other thing too is that if you're also taking classes on campus, then it's really nice for me to know what students look like. So if I see you and I run into you, I can say hello. And, we don't just walk around as strangers to each other the whole time. If you go to the dashboard, in addition to having, your courses here, you also have a few other things. You can jump and look at your calendar, which is nice. So if your teacher has put assignments in, they automatically get dropped into the calendar. And your teacher might have also put other events, and it shows you what all you can have available here. And you can also give them a different color if you want to. So that's something that you can do. And then this would be just your own personal calendar. And you can also click on week month. And what's nice is you can go to agenda, and what it'll do is it'll pull up every event that is in your calendar uh, based on all of your calendars. So if you're in multiple classes, it will pull up all your due dates and everything like that for all of your classes so that you can kind of get a timeline and see really quickly what is coming up. And you can click directly from here to that thing. So for instance, if I wanted to go directly to this first discussion board that says mandatory initial post is due, on by Wednesday 25th, by the end of Wednesday is really when it's due. But if you click on that, you can see it gives you a little synopsis, but you can click from here and it actually takes you to the actual discussion where you could go and read what you're supposed to do, and you can go down here and click on reply. And then you can enter your reply. So that would be your initial post. Okay. So before, I'm not going to jump into that right now, but I just wanted to show you how you can get to the calendar. So, and you'll notice that the calendar link is over on the left too. So let's jump back over here. You could either go back to the dashboard. All right. Now the other thing that the dashboard allows you to do is really quickly just from here look at all your grades. So if I click on my grades, you'll see that you can arrange it by due date, module, etc. And you can also print your grades from here. You can do show all details. Now, if you have anything that is weighted, it's not going to give you a grade and a weighted grade until you actually have grades assigned. And now one thing I do want to show you about this view, if you come to it from that direction, then you can see the rubric. You can say show rubric and you can see what the grading criteria is. So that's good, right? So you'll know how you're going to be graded. And you can submit the assignment. So if I click on submit assignment, what it does is it actually takes me to the assignment page, right? And where it gives me all of the criteria for the assignment, tells me, how much percentage of the final grade it is. It tells me what to do to get started, and it actually tells you before you submit this assignment, there's a whole bunch to do for it. And here's the actual complete outline, which happens to be located on the instructor's website. So you're going to find that for the main projects for this class, anytime you need to go and find out the complete outline for the main project outlines are actually on my teaching website outside of Canvas. Okay, and so because you can see that there's a lot to each project, okay, and instead of putting all of that stuff in Canvas, right, you can just link directly out to see what you need to do. And then it walks you through all of the things that you need to do, checklist for turning it in, and so on and so forth. And it gives you the place where you would type your artist statement. And one of the things that you're going to find as you read through this material is that when you turn your stuff in for main projects, not for discussion boards, but for the main projects, there are some different steps you're going to take that might not be immediately intuitive. And one of the reasons that you can't just turn stuff in directly to Canvas is because for the scale of files, the size of our files, Canvas won't take them. And I require that you give me all of your original files for grading in this class. And so I think there's a 50 megabyte upload file size on there, and that just is not feasible for the kinds of files that we're going to have. So what you'll be doing when you're finished with your project is you'll package your stuff up. You will use SFTP, which is Secure File Transfer Protocol, and I walk you through how to do all of that. And you're going to upload it to the MAT server, which is a totally different server from Canvas. And then once you've done that, you'll come back into Canvas and you will, so that I know you're officially done with it, you'll officially submit through this mechanism, right? You'll submit your assignment by, clicking on this post, and then you'll submit your artist statement down here, right? You can just type it in, you can copy and paste. If you had something in a Word document, you can copy it out and you can paste it here. I'd prefer that you don't attach a Word document that would be my preference. Just copying and pasting, and then that way I can just read it directly out of Canvas. And then the last thing that you would end up doing, for all of our projects, we have presentation forums on the discussion boards. And so even though that's technically not part of your project grade, it has its own separate evaluation grade as a discussion. It is part of the sort of the bigger picture process. So after you've done all of your actual turning in of stuff to me, then you would go and you would click on the final presentation for project one, and then you would, you know, write some stuff to your classmates, put a flattened JPEG or something up there, right, or whatever it is that it's calling for, and then you would share your work with your classmates and then comment on your other peers work. Okay, anyway, so but I just wanted to point that out, that I'm going to leave because I'm not really submitting an assignment, that you can do a lot from this dashboard, right? You can view the calendar, you can get to your grades, and when you get to the grades, you can click on your assignments, things like that. Now there's also this little tool, and if you want to just see what the quick messages are, like if I've got announcements or something like that, you can just quickly toggle back and forth, right? So that's just something that's a nice thing. Like if you wanted to always leave this on instead of having your courses on, if you always leave this on, you can always see any current and important things that are popping up. It's up to you how you want to do it, because you can always easily grab your courses from this link right here. Okay, so let's just go ahead and go into the course. And this is the home page that I've set up for the course. And if you scroll down, I've made it so that anytime you go to the homepage of our class, that you can always easily find where you need to be. Okay, so first of all, there's this little navigation here on this side panel on the left side, and you can close it with this little hamburger menu, this little 3 horizontal line menu bar. They're called hamburger menus, just in case you think I'm crazy. That's really what they're called. And if you close that, you can toggle this open and closed. This is navigation that you're going to see probably in some way, shape, or form in all of your classes in Canvas. They might not all have the same link names right here, but this is a standard Canvas navigation right here. The stuff that is on this homepage right here is not standard. This is what I've put together for you so that at any point you can always go click courses, click here in case you get lost in the Canvas course, and you can come here and you can kind of get your bearings, right? So you can look at announcements, you can go to the syllabus, you can get a quick glance at due dates, you can look at resource files, I'll get to that in a minute. You can go to your grades, conferences if we have conferences set up, conferencing tutorials, right? So if you need to learn how to use our conferencing tool for online synchronous sessions, it's got tutorials right here. And then there's the calendar. On this right side, it's basically got our modules set up by week. And right here at the top, it says start here, class orientation. So let's do that. Let's start right there. Okay, so first thing I want you to do, oh, and I want to show you this. When you go to the orientation, I think it's because I have a Google survey form embedded into the page. For some reason, when you go to the page, it jumps immediately down to this item number 7. So I don't want you to think that that's where you're supposed to start. Scroll back up here, all right, and start at the beginning. So you've got your class orientation. And I want you to go through this stuff in the order that I put it in. So first of all, if you're new to Canvas, I strongly recommend that you click on this Canvas tutorials page. It's an external link, and you'll see, even if you don't go through the tutorials, even if you want to kind of poke around by yourself, I want you to just see what all is here so that if you do have questions later, you'll know how to come and find this, okay? And just remember that that link is in our online orientation if you have questions about how to find that later. Okay, so, and the other thing I want you to notice too about our orientation page, not all of our pages are going to be like this, but on the orientation page, I've made it so that everything that you click in here that's a link is going to open up into a new window or a new tab. And the reason I've done that is so that whenever you click to open a page, you can instead of getting lost and trying to figure out how to get back to the orientation, you can just close that new tab or that new window and come back to where you were in the orientation and just keep on checking this list off, okay? So the next thing, and then there's this orientation video, all right, that I am recording right now, and that's what's going to go here. So you're definitely already watching that, but this is where you're going to come and find this orientation video anytime you want to watch it. Even if it's later in the semester and you can't remember how to do something or how you're supposed to find something, you can come back and look at this. Okay, then you're going to read the syllabus. All right, I'll kind of go over the syllabus in a few minutes with you, and I'll hit the things that I think are very important. But the syllabus, if you click on here or here, you can read the syllabus inside of Canvas. But I still have it open in a new page just so that you can easily get back to the orientation. Okay, so this is the syllabus that's in Canvas. And just so you know, in case Canvas is ever under maintenance or some reason you can't access it, I do also have access to the syllabus on the instructor's website, so on my website. So if you decide that you want to make like a bookmark, you could always click this and make a bookmark. And anytime you want to find our class and the assignments available on my instructor website, maybe you just don't want to log into Canvas or something, you can always come to my website, which is learn.leekottner.com. And then in this case, you would go, if you hover under courses, and then you can click on MAT 210 to get the syllabus, or you can also look at any one of these project outlines, okay? Just so you know that that's available there. And the syllabus is the same in Canvas as it is on my website. Okay, MiraCosta Student Help Desk. I want you to look at this. It's got a lot of really good tutorials, but also this is where you're going to be able to get a lot of technical help, and you'll be able to reset your passwords and things like that. Take a minute to look at this if you haven't already. And then class introduction. This is a discussion that you have to do. It's mandatory. If you do not do this by the end of Wednesday on the first week of class, then I will very, very, very possibly drop you from the class. And if you don't do it, by the end of the week, then I definitely will drop you from the class. So, but if there are any people who are crashing, right, and you don't do this by Wednesday, I might just drop you to give the seat away to somebody else. Okay, so because this is like not showing up for the first day of an on-ground course, right? In our institution, if you don't show up for the first day of class on an on-site course, then the instructor will drop you and give that seat away to somebody. All right, that's the same principle for this introduction. The other part of that class introduction, if I click on this, you'll see that this is also a way for you to get to know who's in the class. And I've always found that students really enjoy this part, actually. Now, the next thing on the list is I want you to see what is graded and what is not graded. Okay, we've got P stands for project, so P1, P2, P3, P4. And if you click on these, it's going to take you to the project information. And then discussion boards. There are several discussion boards. If you want to see which ones they are, you can click this and it'll show you all the different discussions for this semester that you're going to end up being responsible for. Okay, and then synchronous online participation sessions. The way that this is going to work, all right, this is kind of important. It's actually very important. It's 8% of your entire grade for the semester, so that's pretty significant. It's almost an entire letter grade. We have certain requirement for these online classes with lab components that we have to spend some of our time synchronously actually, doing help and feedback, live feedback, things like that. And so the way that I've decided to do this, I've tried it some different ways, different semesters, and I think the way that it's probably the most helpful to people is by me figuring out through a survey, which I'll show you in a minute. There's a survey that I'm going to have you fill out. What some of your best available times would be, sort of in a general sense throughout the semester. And then what I'll do is I'll come up with a number of sessions that I will make available. I will be there, but you guys only have to attend. If you fully participate, you only have to attend 2 of them to receive full credit. So that means that each time you attend, you have up to 4 points that you can earn. If you are, for some reason, you know, you're there, but let's say that you're on the bus or you're in some public place and you just can't talk, but you can listen and follow along. Well, that's participating, but it's not fully participating. So in that case, you might only get a couple of points for participation. So in that case, you would have to probably come to more than 2 during the semester if you want to get all of your points. And I list some different scenarios down here, but basically, I understand that students a lot of times take online classes because they can't be at a certain place at a certain time, right? So most of our class is going to be asynchronous, meaning that it's going to be recorded lectures, recorded sessions. You know, you do things to some degree at your own pace, but you know, I give you benchmarks that you need to meet to make sure you keep up. But there are just 2 times this semester, just 2. And I'm going to come up with a schedule based on your feedback as a class, that you can then go and sign up for slots, and you can put it in your schedule. And if you miss it, you still have another opportunity to hit some other ones, right? Okay. So anyway, let's go back to the, oops, here's the orientation. Okay. So now we've kind of gone through that. And then also, what is not graded in this class are any and all practice lessons. If I call something a practice lesson, you'll see in the schedule, in the weekly schedule, it's not graded, but they are really, really important. So do not skip over those. If I am assigning practice lesson, it is germane to what we're doing for our project. So this is an advanced class, and so you're going to have to practice before you actually start building your projects. You're actually going to learn solid technical skills in practice lessons that are separate from your project so that you have an understanding of how to achieve the things that you want to achieve and how to approach building your entire project. Number 6, review due dates for graded work. All right, so if you click this, you know, you can just jump over to the due dates really quickly if you want. Oh, looks like that one refreshed. I'll fix that. But these are the due dates at a glance, right? You could have also gotten that in your calendar, but the thing about the calendar is it's going to show all of your classes together. So if you wanted to just quickly look at our due dates, you could come here and do that. All right. And so that brings us down to completing the survey for the available online session times. What I'd like for you guys to do, I've embedded a Google spreadsheet right here. And what I'd like for you guys to do is just come in here and put the number 1 inside of everything that you think you might be able to attend. By you putting a checkbox in here, it doesn't mean that you are committing to every Wednesday or every Monday or whatever. It's not like that. It just means that very likely that will be a good time for you throughout the semester. Okay, if I, you know, need to kind of look at where everybody's best time availabilities are, I'm probably going to put the majority of scheduled sessions during those times. And then I will, to accommodate everyone, I will put some other scheduled sessions in other places. But these are the times that I can meet. And so really outside of this, there are no options. So you can, if you have a problem with every single one of these times for some crazy reason, then you need to put zeros in all of them so that I understand that you've actually looked at this and that you just, you know, didn't fail to or neglect to fill it out. And then I need you to contact me and explain why you can't attend even 2 sessions in these time ranges. So yeah, we'll figure it out together somehow, but it's going to have to work out somehow. So, and then number 8, and this scheduled session, it's like not a big deal. It's like an hour 2 times, right? So it's not like pulling teeth. Okay, so connecting to the class mat server. This is a set of instructions that shows you how to do it. And these are the links for the software you need to download. And really quickly too, if I go ahead and play this, it's going to be tiny, tiny, tiny on the screen. And I have it muted so you don't have to listen to me talk. That's too tiny really for most people to watch. So you can click on the full screen button here and you can see what's happening. Now the other thing that I really want to show you, even if you're a YouTube aficionado, just want to make sure that you understand that you can speed my voice up. Like you can speed up these videos. And that's going to be really beneficial to most of you in the class. Now, where it's red, it means it's already played. Where it's like pale gray right here, it means it's buffered. So you could skip forward to it, right? Most of you guys probably know that. Here's the mute button. Okay, you can also turn the volume up or down. Okay, right? You can pause or play right here. This shows you the time that's elapsed. This is the full time of the video right here on the right. And then you've got closed captions here if you want to turn that on. Most of my stuff is closed caption, but not all of it is. I think this one might not be actually. I'll have to update that. And then this little gear box right here, this little gear button, this is the place where it's really important. Especially if I was tired and I'm talking slow, you're probably gonna want to come to where it says speed and speed me up. All right, so you can do it 125%, 150%, or 200, which is like twice as fast, right? Twice the speed of the original. Sometimes 200% is a little bit too fast, but sometimes it's not. So you can kind of experiment with it. You know, at any time, like you can speed me up, especially like if you think you know what I'm talking about. But then as soon as I hit something that's important, you can slow me down. And the reason that this is important, I don't want you to skip through videos. I really, really don't. If you speed it up, I would really prefer that. And the reason is because even though you might think that you know what I'm going to say and it's not important, every once in a while, actually not every once in a while, actually more times than not, when people skip, at some point they're going to miss something that was kind of important. And they, you know, a lot of times that's the student who's like, well, you never told us that, and other students are like, yeah, she did. Right, and so you just might have missed it in a video. So just be aware of that. Also, you can also change the quality for buffering. If you want it to buffer a lot faster, you can lower the quality, and then whenever it starts to buffer within this gray zone, you can jump up here to a higher quality and see it immediately gets better. Okay, so and the other thing too is you can click this YouTube button if you want to watch it separately in another YouTube window. Okay. All right, textbooks. There are 2 required textbooks that you have to buy. So these, unfortunately, when I chose these were available also on Safari Textbooks online, which our library has a subscription to. But as of the beginning of this year, 2017, that changed. Safari Textbooks Online dropped them, unfortunately, but I still maintain that these are really good books, and I still maintain that you need to buy them. Okay, so and I will say this, I understand if there's some people who really have financial hardships, right? And if you had to buy one over the other, buy the Photoshop workbook first. That's the one that I have lessons out of all semester long. I've got a lot of readings out of Visual Alchemy, and also Visual Alchemy has incredibly good visual examples, like a lot of really good visual examples of projects. So I think will really help inspire you and help you think about, like, you know, the way that you can look at putting things together and stuff like that. So the bottom one is more of a technical book that's going to really help you sort of up your game with Photoshop skills. The one on the top, you know, the artist will explain how she did some of the things that she did, but more than not, it's very much reading that is going to be more about how to build projects, how to get project material, how to look at things. It also deals with a lot of sort of art stuff, right? But they're both important books, and I want you to buy them both. And you can get them at the bookstore, but you very well might be able to find them cheaper online used or something. So I would go and look around. Okay, and so when you're finished with the checklist, right, you can either go back to the home page right here, or you can click to go to the first week responsibilities. And you'll notice at the bottom of each of these modules, you can go to next, and on the next one, there will be previous. So if I click on this to go to week 1, all right, it's going to take me to the week 1 module. All right, at the bottom of that, I could go to previous, which is going to take me back to class orientation, or I could go to next, which takes me to week 2, and so on. Okay, and so the way that I've got the weeks organized is I've got the week with the date at the top, and then I have this little jump menu that I've created at the top that allows you to navigate in between weeks while you're in this page, you know, especially just in case if you went to the wrong week. You know, if you're looking for something and you can't find it, you can jump between weeks. And if I have things due that are important, like you absolutely have to have it in by a certain date, then I will have at the top of the page due this week. And then I tell you by the day that it's due, and then the things that are due. And usually there will be links to them so that you can just jump straight to the thing. All right. So for instance, on the first week, you have to do this orientation module, which by the time you're here, you should have already done that. And then you have to do this class introductions discussion first post where you introduce yourself. All right, you have to do that by Wednesday. And then by Sunday, you have to go back there, before Sunday, I should say. You need to go back there and you need to like respond to your classmates. So you have until the end of Sunday night to respond to everybody. And then also by Sunday, you need to have already filled out that survey spreadsheet. Okay. Um, and then the other thing too is that I'll have stuff like important benchmarks. All right. And so every week you'll have benchmarks. Now, the difference between a deadline for like a due date and a benchmark, it's where you ought to be. But if you get a little bit behind, or you know, you get a little bit ahead, that's okay. All right. But it tells you where I think you need to be in order to keep up in the class. And if you start finding yourself, you know, falling behind these benchmarks, maybe you should come and see me, you should talk to me. And I strongly encourage that even though this is an online class, I know a lot of my students also take on-ground classes and are on campus frequently. And I have no problems meeting with you online, and it's really helpful when people come and see me during office hours. These synchronous sessions will help with that a lot too. But if you ever want to come and just talk to me in person and you're having trouble with stuff, and you happen to be in town and it's not too much trouble for you to come into my on-ground office hours, I'm totally cool with that. You should definitely try to make an appointment with me though, even if it's during my drop-in hours. And the reason for that is that other students make appointments so that, you know, they don't show up and have to wait because other people are already in line to talk to me. So, you know, I strongly encourage that, and I can't tell you how valuable it is to students who do come and see me or who do schedule online hours with me. I have no problems at all spending time with you one-on-one. All right. And it can be the difference between back and forth emails sometimes that take a couple of days versus you just come talk to me for 15 minutes and like a million of your questions are answered. All right. So, okay. And you'll see that like for the first week, you are supposed to go ahead and read over the entire Project 1 assignment page so that you get an overview for the whole thing, right? So you kind of read, you don't have to watch all the videos, right? But you can sort of read through this whole thing so you kind of get a sense of where we're starting and where we're going to end up. And down at the bottom are some examples of student work. This is an example of what I did as an example for you guys, and then you can see some other people's finished works. All right, so here's an example of one, and it's actually a much larger piece, but this is supposed to be like a mock-up of a long scrolling single page web page. Okay, and here's the next students and so on and so forth, right? So you get the idea. And you can scroll through these. Some of these files are kind of big, so maybe some of them might take a little longer to open, but you get the idea, all right? And so this first assignment really is going to address a lot about layout, a lot about vector tools, a lot of things that might seem kind of perfunctory, but but they're going to be things that you can use whether you're a web designer or a poster designer, graphic designer, you're a fine artist and you need to learn a little bit about how you should be able to design something for self-promotion, because this assignment will translate into far more than just making a mock-up for a web page. All right. And even if you are a designer who has absolutely zero interest in web design, you need to sort of rethink your assumptions, because graphic designers do design for the web. They might not code for it, but you have to start really understanding some basic things about that. So, but really, even like I said, even if you decide that you never want to design for the web at all, this this could be easily poster design, postcard design, any kind of layout. Okay. So that's kind of what this first assignment is going to deal with. And one of the things, was going to say, one of the things that you'll notice is how long this page is. And it's also broken down into parts, like part 6, part 5, and so on. And the reason I do that is because it helps for you to meet these benchmarks for this really large project that spans like 5 weeks. And that way you don't get lost in the process, right? And so I'll tell you, like the first week, you definitely need to get through part 1 and part 2. So if you look and you click on part 1, I'm going to close some of these other windows that keep opening. You'll see that part 1 is the process part, and you can, read through all this stuff and, oh, here's part 2. And you can go through this whole part 2 and start kind of working through this. And you'll see that part 2 also has a video playlist. All right, so if you click here, you'll see that there are 6 videos that are part of this playlist. And, that probably means that it's going to be, 6 times 15 or 20 minutes a piece, depending on how long each video is. And so you kind of need to, plan your time for that. Okay. Um, and so then that's what you would be kind of responsible for getting through this week, right? And then the next week you could click on it and you see nothing is due where I say you have to have something to do, but it starts with important benchmarks. And here we have this week's practice lessons. All right, and so you start with some practice lessons, right? And then let's just jump over here, let's say to week 5, for instance. All right, this is where your project is actually due. All right, so it's due on a Tuesday. And so you've got some stuff here that you can follow, and then important benchmarks. You're already starting your second project, okay? And then I tell you what I want you to do in this order. And then this is where you've got some more practice lessons. All right, and some of these practice lessons a lot of them are ones that I will have done, and some of them are going to be from other resources that are very good resources. And then down here, you've also got readings from the books, Photoshop workbook. Really, it's just this practice lesson. Okay, and then visual alchemy. Okay, I want you guys to start reading then. Okay, and then that just gives you some idea, okay, of how you're going to navigate through all of this stuff. And then by the time you get to, actually, let's go back to week 5, I guess. By the time you get to here, you'll see that also, like if you can follow along with this video, here's some chapter 1 lesson files. And if you click on that, it takes you directly to the download. So you can just download those files, okay? And those files can also, by the way, be found if you wanted to go back to our home page. If you ever needed just to go find the files and you're like, oh, where are those files? I need to download a bunch. You can go right here where it says resource files, and the files for the class, you can see this is the Photoshop workbook files. And if you click on that, it gives them to you by chapter. And there, I think, are 3 chapters in here where the entire thing wouldn't fit in Canvas. And so for those chapters, I show you during the weeks, I show you where you can locate them on the MAT server. There's some really big files. And you can also download them from Peach Pit, that's in the syllabus, okay? And there's some other things for other projects. Okay, so that really covers an awful lot.